Hi everyone. So today we'll be talking about what it was like during the Neolithic Revolution. So let's get started. So what was the Neolithic Revolution? This is when people started transitioning from the hunter-gatherer lifestyle, from foraging and moving around to actually settling down permanently and starting farming, large-scale farming, and this began around 10,000 years ago, and we also called this the agricultural revolution. So, what caused this agricultural shift? Well, remember that humans started migrating during the Ice Age when we had lots of glaciers, our sea levels were a lot lower because a lot of the water on Earth was just ice, and this enabled us to migrate to different regions of the world, such as the Americas and Australia from Africa. But at the end of the Ice Age, the climate once again started to shift drastically, and this killed off lots of other species, right? A lot of animals back then went extinct. Some examples would be the woolly mammoth, the mastodon, and even we used to have giant sloths like this that were about our size that we used to hunt for food. But now these animals or species went extinct during the end of the Ice Age, and we needed to find alternatives to eat and survive. And this decline of large game animals led to our new food needs, and this caused us to think about growing our own food. So, we had a variety of crops and animals throughout the world that we were farming. So, in the Fertile Crescent, we were farming wheat, barley, rye. In China, it was millet, rice. In Mesoamerica, it was maize, beans, squash. We domesticated animals such as sheep, goats, pig, and cattle. So, these things started to become increasingly common when as we started to become more experienced with agriculture and farming and settling down and transitioning from our hunter-gatherer lifestyle to our more agricultural lifestyle. So what were our early permanent settlements like? So you can see here some agriculture sorry archaeological sites of our earliest civilizations that we found. We have Çatalhöyük in modern day Turkey, and then we have Jericho in modern day West Bank. And those civilizations in Jericho was around 9,000 BCE, and in Çatalhöyük it was around 7,000 BCE. And you can see in our early permanent settlements we had storage pits. We were building mud brick houses, we had organized villages, and we had farming infrastructure back then as well. So how did this change society? Well, now we had surplus food, now that we've figured out how to plant our or grow our own food. And since now we had surplus food, it enabled us to grow our population. More people were able to reproduce and survive. And now because of this, we had so much food, surplus food. We didn't need everybody to be farmers, and not everybody had to focus on just surviving and providing food. And this enabled the specialization of labor. Other people were, or more people were able to do things or contribute to society in ways other than just being a farmer. And this also started a social order or class in our earlier societies, and this began because we had surplus food and new people were focusing on art or other trades. We started beginning to interact with other civilizations and trading with them and exchanging ideas, such as religious ideas, and even forming a social order where different people were in the positions of leadership, while there were also slaves. So you can see we had slaves that were captured from wars or people that owed money. We had merchants, farmers, artisans. We had priests, nobility, rich merchants, and we had even more powerful priests over time as our civilizations started becoming more complex due to the surplus of food. So, how did this affect gender and class? Well, as we started differentiating our labor, different people had different roles. We had class differences, and there were different gender roles for men and women over time as well. So, men normally plowed fields, domesticated animals, they worked on construction, they were normally in positions of leadership, religion, and even warfare. For women, in the beginning, when we started doing focusing on agriculture, women actually had a huge role in farming and plowing fields and domesticating animals. But over time, as our societies became more complex and farming structures became more complex, we started getting irrigation systems for our farming as well. Well, women's roles in public started to diminish. We started focusing more, or women started focusing more on domestic life roles such as food preparation, child rearing, pottery, weaving, and textile production. And we started passing down property to successive families, and inheritance was a thing as well. So, what was the long term impact of this? Well, this was the basis of civilization. This is how civilization began. And over time, got more and more complex as we had more and more surplus of food. People took on different roles within societies. This created more class structure and class division. And this eventually led to cities, government, and even the beginning of writing. And this still affects how we live today. So, what's next? Next, we'll talk about gender roles and the rise of civilization, how roles of men and women changed after farming began, what women did in the Paleolithic versus the Neolithic times, and how early societies shaped gender and power. Thank you.